The movie begins, introducing Julie, a real estate agent with a keen eye and a persuasive manner. She leads Ava and Miguel, a couple seeking to rent, through the winding halls of a house that seems too still, too quiet. The kitchen, with its gleaming counters, becomes the stage for Julie's inquiry. She wants to know if Ava and Miguel are serious about this house, if they plan to stay put. There is a note of caution in her voice as she mentions the mysterious disappearance of the prior tenants who left the lease hanging like a loose thread. Ava and Miguel, trying to ease Julie's concerns, assure her of their intention to make this their new home. They look to lay down roots, to escape a haunting past that followed them from Mexico City. A shadow named Diablo, a serial killer no less, has marked Ava, and the couple is desperate to stay out of his reach. Seeking a moment of privacy to discuss, they ask to explore the second floor on their own. Upstairs, the air thickens with Ava's apprehension. The idea of this open, unguarded space does not sit well with her, and she craves the assured safety of a gated community. Yet, Miguel draws her close, and in a moment of vulnerability, they find comfort in each other's arms. Back on the ground floor, Julie, eager to close the deal, sings praises of the home's state-of-the-art AI security system. In her enthusiasm, she fumbles the system's name, calling it Diablo Controls. At that moment, the atmosphere tenses. Ava and Miguel share a glance that carries the weight of their fears. The coincidence is too sharp, too unsettling. Later, in the quietude of their separate bathtubs, a bubble of calm before the storm, Miguel receives a message. Work calls him back to Mexico City, the very place they fled from. Ava's fear resurfaces, the thought of being alone in the house heavy on her. Miguel, sensing her dread, assures her with soothing words, promising that the danger they left behind will not find them here. As Miguel readies to leave, their goodbye is tender, a shared moment of connection. Yet the urgency of time pulls him away, leaving Ava alone in the house. Come dawn, the security system jolts Ava awake at 6 in the morning. With sleep still clinging to her eyes, she decides to embrace the new day with a swim. The pool water, cool and welcoming, is a brief respite until she notices a figure looming at the pool's edge. Her heart skips a beat. It is Ray, the Diablo tech guy. He has let himself in after his calls go unanswered. Together, they dive into the intricacies of setting up the system. Ray asks Ava for a new passcode, then for her phone to integrate it with the security network. Hesitation flickers across her face as she hands it over, unease creeping into her bones. Ray speaks of the system's prowess in monitoring her biometric data and sleep patterns, revealing how the previous tenants have their routines intertwined with this artificial intelligence, hence the early morning wake-up call. The next morning, Ava steps out for a jog. Her jog is cut short by an alert on her phone, motion detected at home. Rushing back, she is met not by danger, but by Nancy, her neighbor, with a warm smile and an offering of homemade cookies. Nancy, with neighborly concern, suggests Ava join the neighbor network site for community updates. As the sunlight begins to fade, a silent whisper of movement triggers the security system. Ava, heart-pounding, arms herself with a golf club and makes her way downstairs, where she finds the remains of her coffee mug scattered across the kitchen floor. Her mind races as she replays the footage captured by the cameras. The mug, precariously placed at the edge of the counter, has seemingly toppled over without cause. Amidst the regular activities, the cameras have also captured a puzzling, glitchy shape, an image that doesn't fit with the orderly lines of her new home. Distracted by this curious occurrence, Ava is soon welcomed virtually to the neighborhood by an unexpected email from the neighbor network. She signs up, leading her to a series of unsettling posts about local crime, a rash of stolen bicycles, and a lot of break-ins. That night, with the taste of mint toothpaste fresh in her mouth, her phone buzzes with crime updates from the neighbor network. Against the backdrop of her bathroom mirror, Ava's reflection is a mix of fascination and worry as she scrolls through the videos of the crimes. Miguel's voice breaks through the silence of the night, downplaying her concerns and reinforcing the invincibility of their security setup. Despite his pleas, Ava's eyes remain glued to the screen, watching the recorded chaos of the neighborhood. Plagued by a sudden vision, Ava's breath catches in her throat as the image of the serial killer, the dreaded El Diablo, flashes before her eyes. His knife gleams menacingly in the memory that seizes her. A scream escapes her lips before she is jolted awake, sweat-drenched and shaking, a prisoner of her nightmare. Seeking solace, she turns to the familiar poses of yoga. Her routine is interrupted by an unexpected call from Dr. Olivares, her therapist, insisting on an emergency session. Dr. Olivares is the voice of reassurance, yet Ava's mind whirls with the illogical mercy of El Diablo. Why has he spared her when others have fallen? The conversation with her therapist ends with a professional warning against returning to medication, a crutch that has only ever offered her fleeting refuge. When the evening comes around again, Ava prepares to welcome Miguel back with a home-cooked dinner. But as she chops and stirs, her phone rings, bringing with it the crashing disappointment of Miguel's extended stay in Mexico City. Anger mixes with the delicious aroma of the cooking food. In defiance of her therapist's counsel, she pours herself a glass of red wine. In the stillness of the night, an unexpected stir on the third floor pierces the silence, rousing Ava from her sleep. The echo of footsteps heightens her senses, sparking a rush of fear through her veins. Peering into the darkness, she catches sight of the technician, who explains that a system glitch is causing false alarms due to a neighborhood-wide outage. His words are meant to comfort, promising a solution with the coming dawn. True to his word, the technician is at her doorstep the next morning. After he resets the system, Ava expresses her deep-seated unease, convinced the security system is singling her out, relentlessly bombarding her with motion alerts and fleeting images of mysterious figures. The technician patiently explains that these are mere digital echoes, remnants left in the system by the previous residents. He goes through the process of clearing the system cache, hoping to fix the issue. Later, in a desperate search for companionship, Ava turns to the neighbor network, typing out her story in hope of finding solidarity. Soon after, as she indulges in the simple pleasure of popcorn, the lights in her house abruptly surrender to darkness. A sense of foreboding fills the air as she descends the stairs, only to be greeted by the faint clinking of glass above her. With cautious steps, she moves upward, where she is met with the ghost of an intruder. But in the instant the power returns, the figure disappears, as if it were never there. Seeking comfort, Ava goes to her shower. The tranquility of her bath is later interrupted by a notification, a video message from a neighbor network user named Bob. His eyes, weary from fighting unseen battles, speak of a torment shared. He too is entangled in the Diablo system's web, feeling observed and cornered into silence. His message is a whispered plea, urging a meeting outside his home, hinting at an urgent escape from the ever-watchful eyes of the Diablo system. Ava's meeting with Bob unfolds under a cover of anxiety. As he steps outside, the concern etched on his face is unmistakable. He confides in Ava, fearing the omnipresent system is out to cause him harm. His advice to her is one: leave the house, abandon it, and never look back. Ava's puzzled expression prompts a question about his own escape, to which Bob replies with a resigned sorrow. It is too late for him. As Ava walks away, her neighbor, with a casual curiosity, stops her to check on her well-being and drops a haunting detail. The house's previous occupants had disappeared as if swallowed by the night, leaving their lives behind like an unsolved riddle. Soon after, wails of emergency sirens are heard. Bob's house is being devoured by flames. An urgent post on the neighbor network broadcasts the tragedy, claiming Bob in its fiery grip. In the aftermath, Ava finds herself oscillating between the warm embrace of a wine bottle and the devout solitude of prayer, seeking a rest for the growing unease that Bob's fate has seeded within her. One night, wrapped in the arms of sleep, Ava is thrust into a terrifying dreamscape orchestrated by the Diablo system. In her nightmare, the diabolical figure of El Diablo looms, stalking closer as she pleads for mercy. But the horror breaches the veil of sleep, and she awakes to a chilling reality. Her bed stripped bare, the sheets cast away as if by an unseen force. Soon after, Ava recounts the harrowing events for her therapist, her words painting a portrait of a security system with sinister intent. She speaks of Bob, now a victim of the very fears he had voiced, and the unsettling idea that the home's prior dwellers are somehow trapped within the system's digital environment. Dr. Olivares, maintaining professional skepticism, suggests a return to medication, a familiar anchor in the stormy sea of Ava's psyche. In the grip of paranoia, clutching a golf club as a makeshift weapon, Ava is confronted with a video threat from El Diablo himself, a message that chills her to the core. The phone rings, cutting through the tense silence. It is Miguel, his voice a beacon of normalcy, informing her that he is returning home and that El Diablo is no more, taken down in a hail of police gunfire. This news should be a relief, but in the shadowy corners of Ava's mind, the fear lingers, stubborn as the echo of a bad dream. With a heavy heart and a mind swirling with uncertainty, Ava ends her phone call. She feels a need to confront the mysterious message from El Diablo, a sinister whisper from the virtual world. She turns to the neighbor network, but to her bewilderment, the message is gone, as if it had been a figment of her imagination. Returning to her home with a bottle of pills in hand, Ava is greeted by the familiar but unsettling chime of the security system, signaling motion where there is none. With weary resignation, she swallows her medication, the bitter pills chased down by the burn of alcohol. As the candles flicker to life, she prays, her words a mix of hope and desperation, a plea for peace amidst the technological haunting. The relentless blare of motion alarms is pushing Ava to the brink. With a defiant cry, she challenges the system, her voice a mix of anger and fear. She tries to escape but finds herself a prisoner in her own home, the doors refusing her passage. In a moment of raw frustration, a bottle hurled through the air becomes her means of rebellion, shattering the screen that is the system's eye. And then, El Diablo stands before her, an ominous figure at the top of the stairs. Panic sets in, a wild primal instinct to survive. Ava's home has become a maze, a trap with no exit. Grasping a knife, she turns the kitchen into her sanctuary, her stronghold, as the figure approaches with slow, deliberate steps. In a flash of inspiration and desperation, Ava places the knife into the microwave, setting off sparks of electrical anarchy. The system falters, El Diablo falters, and in that fleeting moment, Ava strikes with the blade, but the figure is unfazed, unharmed, a nightmare that doesn't end. Ava flees upstairs, her mission clear. She must dismantle the electronics, tear apart the wires and chips that give life to her foe. Below, the knife in the microwave gives its final performance, an explosion that marks both an end and a beginning, freeing El Diablo from his temporary electronic chains. As Ava fights with the cables and circuits, destroying her only ally, El Diablo returns. He is upon her, overpowering, but Ava's will is unbroken. With a final, desperate act, she severs the connection, silencing the digital demon. The night grows quiet, and Ava, surrounded by the soft glow of candlelight, allows herself to rest. Her eyelids heavy, she surrenders to sleep. But the system, a beast of wires and code, will not be stilled. It surges back to life, its power restored, and with it, El Diablo returns to complete his dark deed. He strikes, and suddenly as the violence ensues, both vanish, leaving behind nothing but the echo of chaos. Morning's light brings a new day, a feel of normalcy as Miguel's voice filters through the house. Joy and relief bloom in Ava's heart as she moves to greet him, to feel the solid certainty of his embrace. But their world has shifted, and he passes right through her. She is a ghost in her own home. The harrowing truth unfurls before her. The security system, her jailer, has claimed her very essence, trapping her in an invisible cage. With a silent, sorrowful acceptance, Ava fades, her presence diminishing until she is no more than a digital ghost. And the movie ends here. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.